Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to another episode. I'm your host, tedtokez, and we got some more World of Tanks console edition. I guess I gotta express that these days. Um, Game's been out for a long time. You know, some players been playing this thing for 10 years. I see a lot of names still trying to play it. But the reality is it's a very difficult game to play these days. Once you consider the fact that most of these players won't even play, and they'll just continue to try to have people play the game for them. Convenient negative popping up there. I don't know why that guy hit his brakes. Maybe he thought he was going to get a shot across the map, you know. They're used to that kind of stuff, though. You know us, though. We're going to get right up here in the front line. As you can see, not a lot going on so far, but we're only, just now getting to that point where we'll start seeing enemies if we're gonna rotate this corner. Maybe them tanks south of the trench, southeast of the trench there, or whatever you'd consider that. Maybe they're gonna move up and help us progress here. Probably not. You're probably going to see a lot of these tanks just sitting around, waiting to lose because they won't actually make a play against the enemies. They'll just sit there and pretend that they're even playing the game with their carry their weight or 2 kills worth by the end of it. That they didn't even really earn. Like, you see that shot? That was an earned shot. Even though I didn't get countered because I took the shot in a certain way, I could still be countered, right? Now, obviously, when we get into the realities of if you can shoot at them, they can shoot at you. A line of sight is a line of sight, And, so if they're over there overwatching, they're still going to kind of be able to get shot even. But they're not going to have situations like this until the whole team's dead because they didn't actually support them, right? Now, with a tank like me on the front line doing this, getting surrounded by 3 enemies who are having trouble killing me, and the only reason they really finished me off was because of the main damage of those missiles that got me in my front left panels. That was about it. And you can see, the team's still in the same exact place. You got a couple enemies they could be getting rid of. Nobody's doing anything about it. Likely everybody in that D line, from the 2 heavies to the 3-4 tanks over there in the 6-7 lines, they're likely just going to sit around and wait for free points. Now, I'll fast forward this 300%, by the way, just for your information. This is 300% fast forwarded. Okay? I want you guys to see this, because we're really just wasting our time here until people actually start playing the game. The reality is this. If you're not going to take the advantage in the beginning, or give yourself the advantage in the beginning, an actual advantage, you're going to be disadvantaged the second half of the fight. That's why you have half of the community complaining people go out there and die, and you have the other half complaining people don't even help, because they just sit back there and they're protecting their life for what? Just to lose because they didn't help anybody else, and they would have probably likely got help helping people around them, because that's the by default of teamwork. Finish this one up, normal speed, let you guys see the little ending. See, we got it was what, 8 versus 8 in there, and they lost 0 tanks after that. Why? Because it was likely the front line that was the reason that most of the tanks were even eliminated. They got eliminated. Even if they weren't the ones eliminating them, they were likely the reason that they got eliminated still. Alright, now this next match is a pretty interesting one. Again, I'm gonna spoil it for you. I do die again, I do get destroyed again, so nothing changed there. But what's interesting about this one to me is how I play with the team this time, and I still get screwed. Alright? Now watch this. I go out here. This isn't where I'm playing with the team. This is where I'm going out there and playing the game on my own, because if they want to help, they will help. I don't need them to help. Alright, here we go. Getting rotated by a couple light tanks. We use our smoke to try to evade a lot of the damage, and they're still on our tails. It looks like they're going to chase us pretty good through these roadways. I'm going to bring him down this straightaway stretch, because hopefully either light tank across the map, the cities on either side, will eventually get a supporting shot, and I may even get to survive. Look at that. They both showed up in some manner. Got a destroyer showing up there. Got other tanks pushing that south light tank's position. They're progressing somewhat. Just enough to say that it is progressing, you know, not enough to say like, yeah, they're definitely advancing out here, but, you know. Got a lot of teammates just wasting their time again, wasting everybody's time, because, you know, a little 106 health FV-107 is you know, definitely a menace to the map, but at the same time, yeah, I'm gonna do a whole lot. You know what I mean? One shot and it's over, right? Just like the old days in the real spiel. But these guys, you know, they got, you know what I mean? Between these two 4005s, they got this other jackass here that's getting in my way, and this is where I could have extended my life. I want you guys to know this, all right? Now, you think I can't teach you and stuff, and this is just basic stuff right here, ready? You see how I progress? I could have pushed past this guy already, you know, didn't need to hit the brakes twice there now, you know. I'm gonna get a couple shots there. Continue to use this teammate as protection, because it's got the stronger armor. I don't want him to get shot. I see the barrel is gonna rotate and reach that teammate before it reaches me, so I went in for the ram. Didn't, I don't think I got the credit for the ram, besides, you know, ramming them, but, I'm not doing it for the kill ribbons, you know, I'm doing it just to play the game. I'm trying to advance myself and evolve my abilities, you know. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to do that in the parts of the game where I'm not able to play, because I went out there and allegedly died, but, you know, that's the way the game goes sometimes, you know, so. Let me show you another one, because this is another one where we could have got some good teamwork here, but again, you know, they just waste the opportunity that they have, you know. You got a couple players that actually get some damage points. I'm not going to argue if they earned them or not, you know, but most of the players, they're just like, you know, they're floaters, man, you know. None of them are actual, like, you know, they're not inciting any innovation or evolve or evolution, you know. They're not really, they're just bums, really, you know. I don't know what to tell you. There's people that have a work ethic, there's people that don't have a work ethic, and that's why we know what a work ethic is, you know. That's why we know what cowards are. That's why we know what heroes are. I mean, I'm just saying, you gotta be something. So if you're not nothing, you know, you're just being nothing. Even if you might still not be. All right, we get some good back and forth here. Got some enemies trying to actually push me now. The Overwatch, you know, attempting to get their points, but they're just getting their points. We're not really working together. You can see they're shooting tanks across the map. I still got these four right in front of them trying to dogpile me, and they're doing nothing about it, you know. So what are you gonna do? You know, I try to tell you guys, it's really not a matter of people going out there and dying. You know, I'd have lived longer. I'd have lived maybe even just 1 second longer if I had one more teammate with me. But they don't play as a team in this game. So, you know, by the end of every match, you're gonna realize half the team didn't even need to be there, and they didn't help, even if they got points. And then the other half of the team didn't even get to play the game, and probably won't even get as many points as they should have got. And I'm not even talking about the deflection that the game won't register. I'm not talking about bull crap like that, you know? These RNG shots that should have definitely went in, but didn't, you know? There's a lot that goes on in this game. So it's an old game, you know. It's been an I think it's a better game than it was when it started for sure. It's definitely evolved. It's had its ups and downs. I wouldn't say it's in the best state that it's ever been, but at the same time, you know, halfway through 2025, people still genuinely have a good game to play here. The problem is there's not much actual playing going on, you know, it's just a bunch of people either getting played or trying to play their own teammates because they're afraid to actually play. Why? Because they know they would likely get played if they tried to actually play against somebody else, you know? Maybe not your average, you know, because most people actually are pretty bad at this game. Well, maybe not most people. I'm probably stretching that, to be fair. But the reality is you don't see a lot of people even trying to get deflection. Like, okay, hey, anyways, that's it for this episode, folks. I hope you enjoyed. I don't know if I taught you anything special, and to be honest, I don't even know if you're that entertained. But I thank yous, and I hope you've enjoyed. Check out some other videos if you want.